Get ready to grab that stick of butter. We're going to talk all about good fats and other fascinating health advice today with the director of the documentary Beyond Food on Inside the Documentary right now on AfterBuzz TV.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Inside the Documentary.
It's so epic.
It is. It's very epic.
Inside the Documentary. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Inside the Documentary. We are here today to talk to you about health and food and diet and all kinds of interesting, amazing things. We have a very special guest in studio, the director of the film Beyond Food, Tomas Reyes. I am your host, Blake V. You can find me on all social media at Blake V Media and follow my yoga and wellness journey at BlakeV.com. And this is my beautiful host, Allie D.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alison Dean. You can find me everywhere at the Alison Dean, and you might see some of my gardening adventures on my Instagram account.
We've got it all covered here.
My organic garden. Yeah, we're just like, we have food, we have wellness. I love it.
We do.
I love it.
We do.
And
we have even more with our fantastic guest, Tomas Reyes. Yay!
Hey, Alison.
Hi, how are you doing?
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming.
We're so happy that you're here. We saw the documentary. It was fantastic. We have so much to talk about with you. To give everybody a heads up on what it is that we're going to talk about with Beyond Food, mainstream health advice is all over the place. You've seen everywhere ads in social media, on the news, whatever it is. Sugar's going to kill you. Don't eat any more bacon. Do this, do that. Don't do this. You know, it's all over the place. It's difficult to get a good idea of what's truly healthy and what's not. So Beyond Food is this fantastic documentary that puts into perspective all of this stuff. Tomas is the director of it. He, with some other fabulous people, put together this information, talked to a lot of health experts, specialists, doctors, athletes, to give us the scoop on what it is, what we need to focus on.
that's like the best of everything, right? So you
Right?
don't have to like do all the digging yourself. Here he did. He put it all
it.
there for you. Just compiled it all, one nice little doc that you can check out and digest.
And got you. Got you. So Tomas, we've done a little bit of research, but we want to let everybody else know too. You've lived all over. That's influenced your life in many ways. But you sort of fell into cooking, and you were a chef as well, and that's sort of like the perfect segue into wellness and diet. How did you first find yourself in cooking and becoming a chef?
I started cooking when I was 8.
Wow.
Yeah, I grew up in Paris. I'm Colombian, but I grew up in Paris. And once a week, my mom was working at night, and I had a nanny, and her food was horrible. And I was 8, and
You
clearly
said enough of this.
Yes, clearly I cared about food.
Yeah.
And one day I started cooking. I was really young, and photography was also my passion at that age. And I think food, photography, and language have been very clear passions all my life. I speak 5 languages. I've lived in Brazil, in Tokyo, in New York, and now in LA.
So wait, tell us the 5 languages you speak.
I speak French, Spanish, Portuguese, Japanese, and English.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
And you're like, and I'm learning Mandarin.
What do they call that? Adding it to the list.
I hope to be
A polyglot?
learning Mandarin.
Yes.
What is that? What it is?
I
Yes.
defer to you.
Yeah. Multilingual. Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Yeah, total hybrid. Kind of. I studied fine arts. I did a master's degree in multimedia arts and photography in Tokyo with a Japanese government scholarship, and then I moved to New York. Put on a ton of weight real fast, and I was like, okay, the portions are a little bigger than in Japan.
That American eating.
But what else is going on? I watched Food Inc. I was like, okay, this is how feedlot meat is created in the US. This is horrible. So from then on, I started just buying grass-fed meat and kind of changing my diet around. And then around 2012, at the end of 2012, I was doing all this research on food. And then I met with Juan, my co-director, who's also Colombian American. He used to live here in LA. And we were like, dude, we're doing this very complementary research. Nobody's telling this story. Let's do this.
Especially in 2012.
Yeah.
Right.
Stuff was like just barely coming out about alternative, diets and lifestyles and things like that.
Yeah.
I will say though, Food Inc., that was probably one of the first documentaries that I was emphatic with people in my life to watch. It was the first one that I thought was, it's sort of like it really hit you with the content, but you still could watch it. I mean, some of these documentaries that expose different environmental sort of issues or food issues, some of them kind of go to a point where people can't watch it.
Yes.
I thought Food Inc.
It
affects, I mean, it
so
really is
affecting.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought Food Inc.,
Yeah.
it did that for me too. It definitely made me go, wait,
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, for me, it was one of the most important documentaries on food.
Right.
ever
And like Michael
done,
Pollan for me after that.
Yeah.
Was like, I was like, Michael Pollan. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
totally,
I mean, I was
totally.
buying every book that he wrote. I didn't necessarily read every book, but I
she
bought
bought
it.
it.
I supported the
Yeah.
book effort because I really did think his point of view on food. I thought it was simple. It was articulate, and it was. I mean, if you really just pay attention to what you're doing with your food, it's like not that complicated. It's like just don't trust everything in the supermarket.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, if there's something that is educational and is opening your mind to something you didn't know before,
Yeah.
Yes.
it's awesome.
Yes.
Right?
And a very good description of what Beyond Food does, because, speaking about the way food is presented to especially the American public, there's a really big, production value. It's all about like mass quantity, less about quality. It's funny because food used to be organic. Now it's like not, and you have to pay extra for it to be organic again. It's all very interesting. And Beyond Food takes us back to the basics, and it shows, in each department, if you will, the specialist who kind of brings it down to like what food was and what it should be again. And I love that about the film. So when you were kind of putting that together, was that important for you?
Yeah, we thought our driving sort of intention from the beginning was to paint a more complete picture of what amazing health looks like, and to show that it's so unique to each of
Yes.
us, right? We want to kind of, I want to say, elevate the conversation a little bit, you know, and move it from this fear mongering and this dietary agenda pushing people to say, if you eat meat, you're a bad person, or you have to become vegan, that's the only option, or you should juice. All those were awesome documentaries, but you can't live on juice. You can't live on green juice. Green juice is awesome, but
Lord knows I can't.
So what do you do? What do you do after your week? 1 week.
You
juice
have
cleanser,
one green
right?
juice,
Right.
and then you binge on everything you shouldn't, and you say,
Potato
"Oh my
chips."
God,
Yeah.
yeah," and it's not worked for you.
No.
Yes.
Yeah. So in doing that, we kind of quickly realized that it was also a story about personal empowerment, because your journey, it's kind of like, I want the documentary to be a piece of inspiration for people to go like, oh my God, my health is mine. It's no one else's. And it's a fun adventure of discovery once you start figuring out and paying attention to your body. When I eat something that makes me bloated, or the next day I wake up and I have eye bags and I feel super tired, I'm like, okay, clearly I don't need
Not
to
for
eat
you.
that,
Yeah.
So
You know what I also think, though? I think that the element of food plays into your relationships with people that you care about, because I think it's one of those things where if you're educated on the nature of the food system and you care about those around you, you would also, like when I prepare food for people that come over, it's organic, it's good stuff, right? And that's important to me. It's important for me to also extend the principles in my own health to the people that I care about. So I think it's like an opportunity to extend your health to others, when you're aware of these things.
Do you feel that way in your cooking?
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to add to your story about the people we care and our family and our friends and,
Yeah.
and so on. This is a good story. I was in Colombia in May for my dad's 80th birthday.
Wow.
Yay.
And so whenever I go home, or whenever I go to my relatives or other friends who are not
Conscious.
super
Yep.
conscious,
Yeah.
I very often will take a hit. I'll go like, I'm not going to say, oh, please, I don't eat this, I don't eat that, because anyway. So the first day I get home and my stepmom brings me from the supermarket, she's like, I know you love these German sausages from this like German guy in town who makes amazing German sausages. And then she brings me also like a chicken ham from the supermarket.
Oh.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to teach you something. This is an opportunity to show you guys something that you haven't paid attention to before.
Or been shown.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't even know.
So I show her the
Yeah.
ingredients in the sausage, and it's like, pork and celery powder and salt.
Natural.
Done.
Right?
Yes.
And then I show her the chicken, and I'm like, there's 30% ground chicken. The rest is
Not chicken.
Yeah, it's it's wheat starch, cornstarch, and a bunch of preservatives and other stuff.
Fillers.
I'm like, so this is not chicken. You know, it's been formed into this thing and sliced, and you could call it a processed meat, but it's not meat. It's 30% meat and 70% other stuff. You know, so
You could
wanting
call
to
it
bring the
processed
conversation,
other.
yes.
Processed other.
It's like, you know, just to look at things for what they are.
Right.
You know, and like you were saying at the beginning, talk about quality.
It's interesting though with our parents, because I know my mom is very much, and our parents are probably not the same age, but you know, of that generation where they almost, I don't know if it's like a trust thing where they just trust the food in the supermarket.
Yes, 100%.
But
yes.
even when I tried to say, hey mom, look at the ingredient, like it's not that, if you can't say the word, don't buy the thing.
Yeah.
Don't buy the thing. If you can say the word, better chances. Better
yes.
chances.
You know, but until Food Inc., we all went into the supermarket.
We did.
That's true.
Trusting
We did.
that every producer in the supermarket, every food available in the supermarket, it was made, you know, looking after us.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Not no mo.
Yeah.
Very true. Well, I have this conversation a lot with my friends because Alison and I are very, well, we're
No?
very a lot of things,
Oh,
but
yeah.
specifically, we're very into food and sort of wellness and, you know, the paths of maintaining that wellness. And we have this conversation a lot about, you know, food, and she's got her organic garden going on. And something that I think is really interesting is like generationally the shift in how people look at their food. Same thing with my parents. It's sort of like, you know, food is just food. It's, you know, sure they may hear about like organic this or, you know, something else that might be better, but same thing, they'll just kind of eat whatever it is. But it's very interesting because I feel like, especially in a younger generation, there's been an influx in a lot of illness. A lot of disease, influx in obesity and diabetes, a lot of mystery illnesses happening. We don't know quite what they are. Generations before us were maybe raised initially with organic, regular food until fast food or Americanized mass processed food got introduced. And now the younger generation is the first generation that was raised on all of this, all these chemicals and processed foods and stuff in America. So that's a fascinating conversation for me to see the younger generation sick now being the first ones raised on all these chemicals.
Yeah.
So that being an impetus to show everybody, you know, this is what's happening and this is how you can fix it.
Yeah. And the key point in everything that you're saying is evolutionary theory.
Yes.
And talking about genes.
Yes.
And talking about epigenetics, which is something that not many people are aware of. But epigenetics is a branch of genetics research that focuses on how your genes. You come with a, you know, set of genes.
Yes.
And then, but there's also your gene expression, which is epigenetics, that can be passed down generation to generation. So
Which
all
was
those illnesses
fascinating.
that this new generation is born with,
Yes.
is it only what they were, you know, raised on, or is it also stuff they carry from
The environment. Well, from the
And
the
their parents'
environment and the
genes.
food from their parents or grandparents?
I don't know, because I
You
feel
know?
like everything was much more pure. Like, I mean, much more pure-ish.
Yes.
I mean, it's like so hard to know at this point.
I know, but it's fascinating.
It's fascinating.
And that's something I loved from this movie. We were talking before. I heard so many words I never knew, never heard of. Biohacking. I didn't know what that was.
Right.
Biocybernetics was fascinating.
Mouthful.
Yeah. We even learned about sort of the factor in what you were mentioning about like the DNA changes and things. This chemical, I think it is oxaloacetate. Anyways, point is, it was all these things I never heard of, and it's so fascinating because it's bringing all
And
this
you
information.
said you wanted to research them and find out more about it. right?
Yes, that's exactly what I said.
She's
yes.
like, I'm going to do a blog post on it.
I will.
Uh-huh.
I certainly will. I
And
was
she'll
Goog-
interview you separately.
I will. I was Googling up a storm with all this stuff. I loved it. So,
awesome.
I mean, even like you're saying, I thought that was fascinating. This is the first time I've really heard this where you can essentially change your own DNA pattern. What your parents give you is not
Permanent.
the bottom line. Yeah. It's
Totally.
not permanent.
Yeah.
So when did you first hear about biohacking and learn about that you can change your own health from your
Well, it was
genes?
through Juan. Juan's a total
Juan.
geek. He was in the Bay Area. He, you know, and we went to the first ever biohacking conference that Dave Asprey put together.
I wanna go to
in
this.
early 2013.
I'll go with you.
We're
in
going.
Pasadena.
Oh,
next
it's here.
October, November.
Oh,
We're all going.
Yeah.
Everyone biohacking
field
conference.
trip.
And it's fascinating because, you know, it's just geeking out on all the science that's available to upgrade, improve your nervous system. Not only food,
Fascinating.
but a bunch of like light therapy and other things.
I'm into
I'm
it.
Yeah.
I'm so into it.
Yeah, because you know, food is one portion of it, but then there's a lot of other sort of bodily functions, brain functions that have a lot to do with your body and how it functions.
And health.
Totally.
And overall health. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
And
if you're only focusing on eating healthy, you're not experiencing amazing health. You know, if you're eating super clean and healthy and all that, but inside your emotions, you're carrying all this like envy or whatever it is, you know, negative emotions, let's call them.
a lot of envy. Guilty.
Aw.
Or, you know, how well you're sleeping, how you're
Yes.
breathing. Do you breathe mostly up into your chest, or do you take
Right, the
deep breaths
diaphragmatic
down
breathing.
to your belly? You know, one is a powerful sort of breath, the other is kind of like an anxious, nervous breathing.
Yes.
So much more, you know.
So
it's
stressful.
It's a big picture. What are your daily rituals? You know, do you wake up in the morning? The first thing you do is just like, oh, let me check my Instagram, or do you wake up and take time to like come into your body,
Right,
and
meditate.
and remember, you know, who you are, what you're up to, why you're here, you know, why you're excited to wake up in the morning, and so on and so forth.
It's
You know,
it's so
pretty cool.
true.
Yeah.
So true. And you touch on a little bit of that in the film as well, and it's great. I mean, one of these words that I'd never heard of is biocybernaut.
I like it.
Biocybernaut. So we were introduced to Dr. James Hart.
Yeah.
And I loved him. Do you
Oh.
recall him?
Uh-huh.
Oh, he was like the Willy Wonka of biocybernautics.
Well, he
He
looks
can
like
introduce you.
he looks like what's his name?
Gene Wilder.
Yes.
He's like his brother. Oh. Anyway, that's what I thought. That's what we thought.
I like it. I like it.
But his study of this word, I mean, he created the word, right? I think he created the term in the field of study.
Well, he has the Biocybernaut Institute.
He does. He does. It was so
And-
fascinating. I had to do a Google
How
search.
did you find him?
The
Yes.
awesome thing about him through the Biohacking Conference.
Oh, okay. So, okay,
Because
okay,
Dave
yeah.
Asprey brought, you know, all these amazing people together, and we
Fascinating.
interviewed a lot of them. The cool thing that Dr. Hart does is that he does advanced neurofeedback. I don't know if you're familiar with neurofeedback, but
Only
it's,
because I Googled it.
well, there you
After
go.
watching
Good.
Beyond Food.
But you learned something,
Yes, I
right?
did.
That's awesome. Is it's a process through which your brain can hear itself changing brain waves. So certain brain waves are related to different emotional states. You know?
I hear it.
That's
you're-
tripping me out right now.
Yeah, I hear
Yeah,
it when
totally.
I'm reaching for the donut and it says, "Don't eat that donut."
Okay,
So I
I
hear
hear
it.
that
I'm
one
there.
too.
I'm
I hear
there.
that one too.
Yeah, but that voice might not be your brain. It's
Oh,
just
it's a
your
di-
cultural judgment.
it's a different
you know,
voice.
all
That's
these other
everything.
things.
That's everything.
That's that other person.
Lots of
That's
cultural
different, yeah.
judgment.
Get away, judgment.
Anyway,
your
but the cool
brain.
thing he did was to mix that with emotional work and releasing emotional trauma
Oh.
and processes of forgiveness and a bunch of things. Because he says it in the documentary, what is in the way of people getting to higher emotional states in their life
Yes.
is emotional trauma. So that's
Which
what
I
it's
think
all
is very valid. I
Yeah.
mean, that's so. I mean, I think everybody carries some level of emotional baggage from
yeah.
their childhood.
Who doesn't
or
want to be
relationships.
every day feeling inspired, happy, loving, compassionate, you know, et cetera, all the positive aspects of ourselves.
If only the world operated on that level.
I
All
know.
of us. Just
Well,
all of
maybe
us.
one day, right? We're learning about all this, and maybe generations from now, it's going to be a whole.
The cool thing is
different
there's like an explosion of gadgets and apps and things that make this available to everyone. You know, for like
And-
$100 or for
Yes.
I did my 23andMe a couple years ago.
I was just gonna ask you.
Yeah,
How was it?
and
Who
it's
are
just
you?
as hybrid
How
as
are
my
you?
life.
No,
You
but
know?
did you do the supplementary one now that they do for your health?
With your health
Yeah,
background.
all of it.
I mean, it'd be interesting, I think, for someone like, especially with sort of the knowledge you have now and how you kind of have these markers for yourself.
Yeah.
I'd wonder, especially from a biohacking perspective,
Yeah.
if anything changes if you were to retest in like 5 years or retest again in 5
Oh,
years.
that's fascinating.
Well, the health part is more for very specific markers for weird diseases.
But I think
that
it's
are
gonna
very
keep
different.
innovating is the thing. I think they're gonna keep.
I hope
You
so,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
for sure.
Because like every time you log into the app, it's like whoa, wait, where did that pop up?
Yeah.
Maybe 23andMe also went to the biohacking conference.
They did.
They're like, we're gonna switch this up.
Totally, but it's fascinating.
Yeah.
You know? In fact, and
Yes.
eye-opening to many people who are like, oh, I think I'm so like just one thing, and
You're
you
not.
realize no, you're like, I'm like sub-Saharan African, Middle Eastern, Italian, genetically speaking.
Yes.
Right.
Bravo.
North African, point something % Jewish. You know, Ashkenazi Jewish. Just a big
That's
mix.
amazing.
Native
Mazel
American. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
Indeed,
it's-
that's.
it's
I mean,
just-
that's fascinating.
I need
And-
to do it.
Well, I do too. We both do. I mean,
Yes.
that's the thing is like, you know,
We'll email you the results. No.
We'll have like a results party. I love it. That's the thing too is, you know, I think that right now we're on the cusp of this sort of change. I mean, we're also used to being stuck in our ways in terms of like, our parents had this, so I'm gonna get it. Or my market only provides this kind of food, so I'm just gonna eat this. Or grab some Jack in the Box, or whatever it is that's like easy for you in your life. You're stuck to that. But now we're sort of, you know, we're learning about these words. There's these conferences, there's these sciences that are really getting to the bottom of these things that allow us to make major changes in our lives. And it's fascinating. You know, not only do people not know about this, but I think it's also hard like to grasp, you know?
I think it might be overwhelming for
Yes,
people.
overwhelming,
Because it's
yes.
not, you know, it's something that you really have to be very aware of. It has to be integrated into...
aware of and like proactive enough to like really do it, really
care.
learn it, to
Yeah.
care.
Right.
But I think it's the right time for that, you know, to step up in our
Yeah.
own power and just go like,
So
you know,
true.
this is my life.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and
another
I
thing-
can experience amazing health and this, you know, amazing states of being every day.
Another thing I think is so powerful that's
Yeah.
like perfect for like your film and all these kinds of, you know, sciences and getting the world out there is the internet and something like Netflix. I mean, these things are available globally now. And
Yes.
it's fascinating because before pre-internet, nobody knew anything. We couldn't get information to like, it was so hard to
Right.
spread it. Now you can Instagram somebody in Somalia, you know what I mean? And get the conversation going. It's fascinating.
WhatsApp them.
Totally.
WhatsApp them.
Totally.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I loved the variety of people that you had in the film and what they had to speak of. You know, we heard from a vegan ultra athlete, we heard from a health coach, a forager, all of these people, a compost lady. I loved her. That was fabulous. So when you were compiling who you were going to talk to and who you were going to include in the film, what was your process of thought?
That was the
tough part?
hardest- Yeah, that was the tough
Yeah.
part because we had about 30 plus people that we interviewed and 12 made it to the final cut.
Is there going to be a Beyond Food 2?
Yeah.
Yay! A Beyond Food series. Never ending,
Totally.
really.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fascinating subject, and it's we are, like you were saying, we're kind of experiencing a scientific revolution of
Yes.
understanding so much more about our biology, about our blood, our genes, evolution, about ecosystems. There are people who, you know, the norm was to have a feedlot, to have cattle, but then now there's a huge movement globally showing that actually cattle grazing and managing cattle with regenerative systems is actually good for the environment. It's good for capturing carbon from the air. You know,
Isn't it
things,
shocking?
Things are just like you were saying
Yes.
earlier. Yes.
And we saw rather, we didn't talk to. We saw in the film the rancher that you were talking about. What was his name again?
Glenn Elzinga and
One
Carol.
Gun Ranch.
No, the Alder Spring Ranch.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
One Gun is here in LA.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that rancher was fascinating. He was talking about he really liked him too. And isn't it funny, right? His model of farming, or ranching rather, is to let the cows eat what they want. And for us, you know, in terms of just like, you know, America or whatever, it's like, ooh, what a crazy thought to let them eat what they want. You know,
Let them just be like the way they've been for
let them be
thousands
cows.
of years.
Yeah, right. And everyone's like, ooh, you know, I mean, I thought that was shocking.
This
It's like,
really frustrates me hearing that it's not, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because it's so logical.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But there's this
Mass food.
Industrialized, agricultural like way of thinking
It's
now.
it's sad.
And it's so wrong. It's so far from what it should be that now a normal thought is like, what? We saw a lot of that in this film too. Not only with just ranching and farming, but there was a gentleman who spoke. I did not get his name, but I loved what he said. And he was talking about how there's also this attack on like the sun now. Everything. Oh, don't be in the sun. Humans need sun.
And now we're all vitamin D deficient,
Yes,
right?
we're all vitamin. We're taking supplements to replace what it is. I mean,
To replace the sun. It's a little crazy.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's so true. And I mean, just personally speaking, being in the sun for a day makes me feel amazing, And
Yeah,
so
you
it's
almost
like
get high,
you totally do.
Go to spend a day on the beach. I mean, I'm super tan right now.
Yes, you
it's
are.
Summer,
I was
and
gonna say.
I'm
I was like,
we on
good
this,
job.
We
I'm
on
like,
this side of the
beach,
table,
beach,
on the
beach,
other hand,
beach.
Improvement. I needs improvement right here.
come stand up paddleboarding with
Yeah.
me.
Oh, jeez.
There you go.
Um,
So to go back to your question, we did a first version of the documentary, then we did a second version, and finally we kind
slowly whittling down.
and got
Like
a lot
taking
of feedback
interviews
from
out?
friends and,
Okay.
and in trying to put together the most informative educational story. That's why I ended up also narrating the documentary, because I was like, okay, I need to take you a little
rein
and
in the
show
journey.
you kind of like what I understood and stuff like that. Took 3-4 months of voice lessons, because the first time I tried narrating,
did you?
it was really bad.
Good job.
Well, it sounded great. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Tomas.
I have a question. So, in the sense of, because of the kind of people that you were getting,
Mm-hmm.
were there any challenges with that? I mean, these are some pretty. I mean, like, I wonder if Blake or I were to email some of these people, if we would get a response.
Oh,
from them.
interesting.
Do you
Yeah,
know what
how
I mean?
accessible
Yeah.
are these guests for the
Well,
public?
It was
to learn
all
more?
it was all serendipitously perfect,
Gotta love when that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because Juan and I met. I had just read Rich Roll's Finding Ultra. He's a vegan ultra athlete, and I
Okay.
found his story fascinating.
Yes.
And we decided to tell this story, and we had some savings, we had some money, but we were also. It took us a long time to finish this whole thing, because we never raised funds or anything. We didn't plan it much, but we had a very clear idea. So
Right.
when we started emailing and calling everyone, they were like, "Yeah, come in."
But like emailing and calling everyone, like, how are you getting these people's phone numbers?
Well,
we need to know.
I mean, no, there's
Well,
something to be said for that, right? Like,
one thing
it's challenging.
led to the other. So
Well, and
Rich Roll, through his website, I just emailed him.
Yes,
I see, and then you got a response, and
yeah.
then he's like, "Oh, call my friend, whoever."
No, it's true, and I think that people in the health or science field, it's
wanna
interesting.
talk about
they
it.
want to talk
And
about
they're
it. They want to
all-
spread their
yes,
word.
they're all starting. Rich Roll had recently published his book. Dave Asprey was getting started with Bulletproof. I mean, Laird and Gabby, they're already huge, but nonetheless, they're interested in talking about that, and they're all brave people who have challenged mainstream health advice.
Yes.
They're being like, and they need to talk about it more and more, and to as many
That's
people
true.
as possible.
Yeah.
So they know the value of that, and I'm sure.
Have any of the
Yeah.
relationships, have you stayed in touch with anyone
Yeah.
specifically? All of them? All 30?
Not all of them, no, but many of them. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, just as like mentors, maybe in sort of this new chapter of your life, kind of a thing, because these are people that have been doing it for.
Right, and especially those with like the ongoing sciences, the growing of their research and stuff like that. I mean, that's fascinating. I mean, today it's fascinating, but in 5, 10, 15 years, what's it going to be? I mean,
Right.
Absolutely.
It's very cool, this
Yeah.
whole growing field. Yeah, and I mean, like even just speaking of Laird and Gabby, I mean, those were big people in the film, but the fact that they're so passionate about that stuff and they are so big, so it's like your trust is immediately like, yeah, they know what they're talking about, because they live it. I mean, Laird is like
Totally.
a multi, award-winning surfer and all this,
Yeah.
and Gabby's amazing in her own right, and so it's very cool.
And they
They're
look
all
so
like,
young.
Don't they look so young? I
Yeah.
was looking at Gabby's face and I was like, damn,
Fountain
Gabby,
of
She
youth.
was 50.
shocking.
interviewed
I
her.
would never even
amazing.
think.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Follow what she does.
Well, all independent, creative. They trailblazers.
Right.
of course you want to talk about what you do, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know. So one thing led to the other, and then we were here and met someone else who knew someone else, and kinda like
Yes.
It's
that.
amazing.
And they all opened their doors, and they all were all like, yes, come in. And, you know, we went there for an hour, 2 hours. And
Okay, I know that I
amazing
shouldn't
talks.
ask this, but I'm going to. Was there like someone that stood out as like a favorite for you, like a favorite interview that you had,
Or like the most knowledgeable, something like that.
No.
Maybe something
All-
you didn't know.
I mean, so much I didn't know.
You're like,
So true.
I mean, imagine
So true.
if whatever you're really passionate about, you get to travel for a year and a half and interview the most
No,
amazing
it's
people
very
in
cool.
the
So
field you're
amazing.
passionate about.
yeah.
You know, you
So
clearly
amazing.
learn something. You know, mind expanding journey. Sometimes
How has that
mind-blowing.
affected your cooking though, too? In the
Oh, it
sense
totally
of like,
changed because I
Yeah.
thought, you know, I thought I knew food. You
Right.
know, I always cooked, and my friends and family, everybody knew, you know, Tomas. Yeah, it's Tomas's food, whatever. But then shooting the documentary, the focus on quality,
Right.
on what to cook, and what causes the most inflammation, you know, and I keep on learning all the time. I just recently read a new book by Dr. Stephen Gundry, who's here in California. He just wrote a book called The Plant Paradox. Fascinating. About things I didn't know and no one was talking about back then when we were shooting. You know?
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm like a learning machine. I'm also very interested in learning more and more and more about all these things.
Did you have
So-
any, like, I know that a lot of the people in the film spoke about their own health issues that
Yeah.
maybe propelled them towards this sort of thing. I
Yeah.
know that, like, for me and a little bit of Alison too, like, we've sort of experienced health things that have pushed us more into the wellness field.
Yeah.
Did you?
Absolutely, yeah, of course. Yeah, the first one when I was a teenager was sodas. I
know.
I would always be so bloated. I'd be like, okay, and so I gave up drinking sodas when I was like 18 or 19. Then in my early 20s, bread and too many carbs made me feel really crappy. Even though I was in my early 20s, and you know,
You should be
just
feeling amazing.
And I was like, Dad, how come you can eat all this bread and I can't? You know?
Yeah.
I was so jealous. Talking about jealousy. Talking about envy.
Well, and
I
isn't
had
that
carb
fascinating?
envy.
Oh,
you know.
talk to me about carb envy. True. But isn't that
So-
fascinating too? I mean, that's sort of also a thread that was, you know, woven into the film, is that everybody is different. I mean, one person who's vegan maybe doesn't work for this guy. And like this,
True.
this other person who eats, you know, 50 pounds of meat every day may not be great for this other person. So, you know, that's fascinating too. And I think the main thing that we came away from, at least I came away from, is to experiment on yourself.
You have to.
Yeah.
I
You
feel
have
like
to.
because you can't just like assume, like for instance, like the blood type or eat right for your type, right? And
Yeah.
it's like, you know,
Maybe.
maybe, right?
Yeah,
you
gotta give it
kind
a
of
shot,
have to,
you know,
right?
and that's the best. If you can change from a belief system, which is like someone telling you to believe what they're selling you,
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, you know, to a more scientific approach, which is experience and observe,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Trial and error.
Yeah. And
Right.
then you understand this, you know, this living system that your body is,
Right.
Yeah.
you know, by trial and error.
I
And
agree.
just-
And someone said something interesting too in the film. Basically, especially in America, I'll just say, we're raised this certain way where we're eating these certain things, doing these certain things. And if you don't have any health problems, you think it's fine. You think, sure,
Totally.
let me just keep doing what I'm doing because it seems fine. You're living on this level, but until you experience living on this level, you don't know any different.
Or something happens to you where
Exactly.
you're forced
Or
to
if you-
go, how can I
get back to that level or whatever, a
Right.
health issue or something.
Yeah, like
so,
you might have a chronic, very mild levels of inflammation that you've been used to because you're like,
yeah,
you know,
you don't know any different.
you don't know any different exactly,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, like one day, you feel light, you feel powerful, full of energy. Your brain is on. You have this mental clarity. Focusing is easier. You're like, okay, I like this.
Yes.
Even Glenn, the grass-fed beef ranch.
Yes.
He says when he in his 40s that he experienced the ability not only to have trouble processing food but also thoughts. you know?
Yes.
And that when he
With the
started changing his
carbs.
diet, his just brain came back on. You know.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Oh, I totally believe it. It's fascinating. And then another interesting thing too, which I've just kind of observed in general, is that things change as you age too. I mean, something that was great for you when you were 12 is not going to be the same for you when you're 40. You know, just even your taste buds, your digestion, like things
You're
change.
not the same person. You're
not
constantly changing.
Constantly changing. Yes,
Yeah.
and I think that people are so stuck in like when I was a kid, I could eat whatever, but. Things change. So, I mean, Glenn is a great example of that because he's like, when I hit 40, suddenly everything was different. And it's true, like being aware of these age-induced changes, for better or worse, just knowing that happens, identifying what's going on, and, being willing to experiment with other things.
Well, I'm so glad you guys kind of like got
Yeah,
so
we get
inspired
it.
and psyched
We
by the
get it.
documentary. I'm excited.
It was
Well, like
really
the minute we saw that, we got the email from Rob, I was like, Blake, we got to do this.
We love this stuff. This
We
is
love
like
it.
totally
Awesome.
our forte. We love it. And
Like, we seriously want like the secret emails from you when you start discovering like new things.
Who are
Like, hey
these
guys,
people? Tell
guys,
us.
research a little bit on this. Like, encourage you.
It's
you know,
true.
we can
It's
have
so
a
true.
secret Slack channel or something between the three of us, or
Ooh.
like a WhatsApp, whatever. We can do like a group thing. Like, hey guys,
On Instagram,
gotta-
I'm always posting all these books and
Oh,
new
I love
stuff
that.
I'm-
Yes.
So
yeah.
you
It's
can just-
fascinating.
It is. It really is. And I encourage everyone out there.
Yes. Another lady who touched my heart I wanted to just talk about for a little bit was the compost lady, Linda Gibbs.
Yeah, Linda's.
Okay.
I love this
She-
reaction.
She was kooky and lovely all in one wonderful package. Like, I would want to hang out with her every day.
Oh, he can hook you up.
She was talking about composting, which composting I feel like I've heard about, for years, but I've never really known what goes into it. What is it really?
It's
what do
scary
you
is
need?
what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it is intense.
I'm doing it. I mean, I'm not doing it. TJ's doing
This
it, but
is the
it's
compost lady.
But I literally, when he opened it up, I was like, and no, I will be leaving.
Well,
Thank
you can have someone else do it.
Yes.
But you can.
reap the benefits of it. Indeed.
But you can, just take all your organic stuff that's left over,
Yes.
and instead of
Yes.
throwing it in the trash,
donate it to the compost
donate it to
people.
the
As we
soil,
do. Yeah, as
or
we
donate
do.
it to the
Totally.
compost.
Yeah.
But it was fascinating the way she broke it down. I mean, she was showing the layers of the biodynamics, she called it, and it was these layers of different ingredients, if you will, different things that produce carbon, different things that produce nitrogen, whatever it is that combines to create this compost pile. And it was fascinating. And she was
Yeah.
talking about it, and she was so passionate about it. I never imagined a human would be so passionate about compost.
Oh, you need to also watch John Kohler on YouTube,
Okay.
Growing Your Greens. He's
Oh.
he has a whole, I watched
Yeah.
an hour of compost, like comparing compost bins, and I was like, oh, senor, you are very impressive. That's what I thought.
But these people love it.
Yeah.
They love it, and that's inspiring. Like, regardless of the knowledge you're really taking in, these people love it so much. You're like, wow,
It
okay.
inspires you to see
Yes.
see
Well,
that.
it touches also on a point that's really important, and it's the whole cycle.
Yes,
Right?
that's specifically what I loved.
Because today we don't talk about death, we don't talk about feces, we don't talk about
It's so taboo.
Plastic.
yeah.
when in
True.
Like, oh,
when
God.
the planet just works on a system based on that. There is life that sprouts
Yeah.
and it dies, and the ground eats it.
It's all a cycle.
recycles it, breaks it down into all the minerals, et cetera, and
And
creates
she
new life.
loves-
Right.
But
And she loves composting on a full moon.
yes,
Oh no, yeah, there's gardening
Because
in the
of the moon
Yes,
cycle.
yes.
I loved that.
Yes.
The second she said that, I was like, I like you, Linda.
yes,
Yeah.
She likes you too, Blake. She doesn't
I
know
hope
you
she
yet,
does.
but she likes
She'll
you too.
know me soon.
She does.
Me and my love.
Uh-huh.
It was just great. Like, I mean, we're just kind of touching on a few of the things, the different people that gave their opinions. I wanted to show this at the beginning when we started, and I was so enthralled in speaking that I didn't get a chance to. I'd love to take a moment now and show the trailer. Josh, if you're still there. Excellent. We'll show everyone the trailer really quick and jump back into it.
Beyond Food is a picture of what extraordinary health looks like today and all the possibilities that are available to people like you and me who really want to experience maximum health. Hacking your biology, refining your food options, the things you do every day, the emotions you nurture, the choices you make, the affordable transformative technologies that are available on our smartphones, and how today's science comes together with ancient methods of regulating your nervous system like breathing. We traveled all over the US on a mission to interview a group of extraordinary people brave pioneers challenging mainstream health advice, and sat with them for in-depth interviews. We personally knew this journey would change us, but we never imagined the degree to which our lives would improve. We are grateful for this knowledge, tools, and this group of amazing humans for opening their doors to us. This movie is for you so that you can bring all this into your life.
Beyond Food, everybody.
Okay, so in the
Nice.
beginning, you show cucamelons, which I'm
grows.
growing, and I didn't really know what I was getting myself into when I started growing them, because in my mind, I thought that they were going to be like the size of a normal cucumber, but with the flavor of some lime injected.
No.
And then when they started growing, and then I YouTubed what they actually were, I was like, oh damn, I'm supposed to be harvesting them already. Like,
Oh, you're waiting because you're like, no, they're gonna grow a little more.
Alison
Right.
has been going
So
through this
much,
amazing organic gardening journey, and she's learning all of it, like what different plants call for, and what the harvesting of it is, the watering, the
it's
sunlight.
a nightmare.
So
Like,
much-
it's a nightmare.
I have so much respect for people who grow food. If people knew
Oh God.
how hard it is
Oh, God.
to grow good food with good soil and the dedication
So
it
hard.
requires. you
Different
know.
level of respect for the things you see in the supermarket, for sure.
Oh, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, like
Yeah.
now, and especially because I live in the valley of LA, which is, it's hot. It's very hot. So I've now even learned, would I start the growing season for myself when I did? No, I would not, because growing in the summer here, I mean, even things that thrive in heat,
Too much.
it's
Yes.
too much heat.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's definitely interesting, and I've certainly learned a lot. But yeah, it requires a whole lot of time.
Yeah.
And speaking of growing, it's interesting too, because I feel like various people that I've come in contact with, friends or friends of family or whatever, people are going to school for farming now.
Thank God.
That's awesome.
And it sounds like such a bizarre thing, right? It's like, I mean, we're so used to like corporate, you know, whatever, work, 9 to 5, all of this. And no, like people are now, young people especially, are like, no, what is this offering me? Nothing. Let me figure out this earth and how to work with it. And they're going to school for farming, and it's fantastic. It's like a
I
whole
applaud you.
shift.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I applaud those people.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you.
Yes. Another message I feel like I recall from the film too is Laird Hamilton. He said that he asks his kids, "What's your most valuable vehicle?" And they were like, "A car, a boat, whatever." And he's like, "No, your most valuable vehicle is your body."
Yeah.
And it's so
that's
true.
awesome.
It's so true. I mean, really, like just bringing your focus back to your body is like a huge main message of this. And how are you hoping that people take that message or any message from the film when they watch this?
Such a good question. It's such a big question.
Yeah.
I mean, at all levels, I think being in your body is one of them. You know, like just connecting to your, just as an experiment. I hope that people kind of like the way we did it. We're like, okay, let's not discriminate. Let's remove judgment from this equation, and just curiously go and listen to these people. How that changes completely, right?
Yeah.
Because we discovered so many things. So if someone has never done yoga or has never done any mindfulness practice or any meditation or anything, just like one of my favorite Buddhist teachers, Thich Nhat Hanh, he says, if it's really hard, just like sit down and take a breath and just say in your mind, I know I'm breathing in. And then I know I'm breathing out. And then it just brings your focus to what you're doing.
So true.
And it occupies your mind with a sentence, you know, I know I'm breathing in, I know I'm breathing out.
Yeah, your mantra.
Just that. But being in your senses, you know, experiencing your body, playing sports, or to me, you know, I love sport just because it's fun, you know?
Yeah.
And at the same time, you're in your body, you're exposed to the elements, you know.
And you want to perform at peak,
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
abilities.
Yeah, I mean, I love playing volleyball. I love playing volleyball on the beach. And in the summer, if, you know, I'm not going to go, you know, eat some crappy food the night before or drinking or all that, because what am I going to do? I mean,
Yeah.
I hope that, you know, if you could connect to what you love and what makes you feel so alive on a daily basis and just get more of it, create more of it. If that means being in your body, or if that means reading more or learning more or trying little things like there's a cool app developed by this company and it's called Inner Balance. And you can just plug a little sensor, you put it on your ear, and you can train through breathing and following this visual prompt, you can train your heart rate coherence.
That's fascinating.
It's fascinating. It's so easy. And you can do it 5 minutes a day, you know. And instead of the 5 minutes you're going to spend on Instagram or Facebook, you could just train your breathing and your heart rate coherence through this simple app.
Sign me up.
You know?
Seriously. And
Things like that. It's just like simple things. But there's many of them.
Yes.
You know? It's not just eat well, or it's not just, you know, do a lot of sport. It's a more holistic thing. It's a more layered and rich. It's rich.
Did you read The Oxygen Advantage? Is that a book
No.
you've read? Oh,
No.
okay. We'll talk about that after.
Yes.
I got a whole list of books for you.
Yes. Well, I mean, I fully loved this movie. I agree with a lot of the points that everyone's bringing up. I love the people that you put together for it. I agree.
We want version 2.
We want version 2 already. I agree that like little changes in your life change everything. I am a yoga teacher. That's something that has changed things drastically for me, and I'm very grateful and interested in, and it's wonderful. I mean, I'm sure that Alison can agree and has a lot of her own experiences too.
No. I mean, I think. Yeah. Health and wellness and all of it being, it's very multidimensional, and so I appreciate you for making something like this, because I think more and more things like this need to be brought into the world, and you know, however people can find it, I hope they do, because it's a conversation that more people need to have and be aware of, especially given sort of, you know, where we're at in the world today with the number of people in the world and just how the behavior of people in the world. I think things like this are that much more important.
Yay!
Thanks so much, guys. I'm so excited.
You're so welcome,
about
Tomas.
So much.
We loved it. We're that's why you're here. This is excellent. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching this very special Inside the Documentary with Tomas Reyes from Beyond Food.
Where can they find you on Instagram, Facebook, wherever? Say your
so
handles.
beyondfoodthemovie.com.
Okay.
That's our website. My Instagram is Tomas Reyes Varela, Varela.
Okay.
Our Instagram is Beyond Food the Movie. You can also find us on Twitter as Beyond Food Movie, because Twitter makes your handles short, whatever.
They do that. But do it. Go follow Tomas.
Yeah, we have experience with this. Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Go follow Tomas.
Follow him. Watch the movie Beyond Food. It's fantastic. It's going to be a well-used time.
Yeah. Well-used time.
Well-use of your time.
Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I have been your host, Blake V. You can find me on all social media at Blake V Media, and visit the blog at BlakeV.com for yoga and wellness.
Absolutely. I'm Alison Dean. You can find me everywhere at the Alison Dean. Stay healthy, everyone.
Yes. See you guys next time.
Here's Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network. We would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network. The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.